here to receive it. Yeah, no. Do they want?
Testing.
We're ready.
About 30 seconds. Oh, we've got to do it. Do you have ordinance numbers for me?
541.
Might be ahead of the game today. So even though stuff says 539, that was the interim ordinance, right? And then, okay. All right, good enough. Good evening. Welcome to the special town council meeting for April 22nd, 2014. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Bowman.
Here.
Councilmember Culleton.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Rawlings.
Here.
Mayor Lauder.
Here. Okay. Tonight we have a public hearing to consider adopting ordinance making finding and extending ordinance 539 for an additional 10 months and 15 days in accordance with Government Code Section 65858.
And this item will be led by Craig Baker, our Community Development Director. Craig?
Thank you, Town Manager Beal. This item has been placed on your agenda this evening for you to consider extending the urgency ordinance that you adopted on March 19th, 2014, that currently prohibits the establishment of fences and other barriers within private road easements for an initial period of 45 days. The moratorium that was established by ordinance number 539 will expire on May 2nd, 2014, unless it is extended by the Town Council via adoption of an ordinance to extend the urgency ordinance for up to 10 months and 15 days. The urgency ordinance was initially adopted in order to resolve conflicting interpretations of a current Paradise Municipal Code section prohibiting the establishment of fences in private road easements, and whether or not the section also applies to other barriers across private road easements. On April 8th, 2014, the town manager presented a report to council outlining, among other things, the manner in which the unregulated establishment of various barriers across private road easements may impact the delivery of emergency services to those easements. The report also contained examples of how other jurisdictions have attempted to address the issue. As a result of this analysis contained in the town manager's report, 2 proposed ordinances were presented for the town council's review. At the conclusion of this review, the majority of the town council adopted a motion directing the planning commission to initiate proceedings that would ultimately result in town zoning code text amendments to permit fences, gates, and other barriers in private road easements, but only with the consent of all parties that use the private road easements. The Planning Commission is currently scheduled to consider such a resolution to facilitate the council's direction on May 20th, 2014. Subsequent to the Planning Commission's consideration of a resolution recommending council adoption of the text changes, the Town Council could then introduce an ordinance for the text changes in June of this year and conduct a second reading of the ordinance in July. The proposed text changes could then be in legal effect by early August 2014. So if adopted this evening, the attached urgency ordinance will allow proceedings required to adopt the proposed text changes to be completed before the moratorium expires. An ordinance that would promote and establish these text changes would also contain a provision that would rescind the urgency ordinance such that it would go away on the same effective date of the proposed text changes. So our recommendation to you this evening is that you open the public hearing, that you accept public testimony, and ultimately waive the reading of Town Ordinance number 541 and adopt Ordinance number 541.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. So I will now open the public hearing. So the project proponents, those in favor, come forward first. If you're familiar with the time limits, 3 minutes per speaker. Anybody want to come
My
forward?
first card is from Max Bartow.
Okay.
I'm not in favor, so I'm not sure is that right? How are you doing this?
Well, it is saying project proponents, so that would be the people that are in favor of the moratorium. If you wanted to have anything to say, you can. If not, that's just fine. I think we've heard the testimony. Okay, so then I will go ahead and hear from the opponents of the ordinance.
My card's still up here today? Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, members of council and staff. I will make this brief. I think you've heard from me a number of occasions already. I will reiterate my objection and my concerns regarding this interim emergency ordinance. I do not believe it meets the statutory requirements for an interim emergency ordinance. I think it's overbroad, and I believe that the purpose for which you enacted the interim emergency ordinance was to bring forth a permanent resolution for a permanent ordinance, which you have already done. The ordinance, the interim emergency status of the ordinance seems no longer necessary. I encourage you not to adopt it this evening. Thank you.
Anybody else? Clerk?
John Romalia.
Good evening. We've been going back and forth on this since June. In 2011, when that property was purchased, there was a gate there. Just like 43 other gates in this town. There was a gate there. We didn't put the gate up. We were required by the town fire department to widen the gate because the people that put the gate up with our predecessors' permission, Home Partners LLC owned the property. They went to Home Partners LLC, a gentleman by the name of Sal Busey, gave them permission to put the gate up there. There was a consent between the two parties. If we go back further and look at Google Earth photographs, the gate has been there. It isn't a new gate. If you take this stance, every one of the gates in this town, a new person moves into town or moves into behind that gate, they can make the status quo change. It's not right. If this is such an urgent thing, that public health, safety, and welfare, every one of those 43 gates needs to be chained open so that police, fire can get in. This gate, we worked very closely with Tony Lindsay to make sure that all the requirements for health, safety, and welfare was met. It's that simple. The urgency ordinance, there's nothing urgent. It's no more urgent on any new gate than the existing gates. And it just doesn't make any sense. Two parties consented, the bank that owned it prior to Alamer and Bettis. The town required it to be made wider. We had to make the town, to be able to develop the lot for the intended purpose, it had to be made wider. We went to Bettis in 2011. They agreed. The foundation set for 2 years, and I have no idea what happened between April 2013 and June of 2013 to change all this. But the way I look at it, there was a gate there. It was bought with a gate. There's nothing urgent about it, and it makes no sense. Let the courts deal with the changing of the gate to meet the fire code's requirements, because what's going to happen now if this is adopted, everything's going to get continued into court until you guys make a decision, and we're going to be 2 years out. There isn't a bank that will loan to finish the house. It's going to stay halfway completed until this is resolved. Thank you.
Other cards?
No more
Anybody else in the audience on the side? Any rebuttals? project proponents or the
I'm gonna hand it.
Mr. Bettis, you can come forward, state your name for the record.
My name is Dana Bettis, I own the property at 6479 Gregory Lane. There was never a gate there. I put the gate up myself temporarily to stop vandalism. I didn't get permission from any bank or ever talk to any bank. I had no contact with any bank. Everything that he just said was not true. I never had a gate there. I didn't replace a gate. I put a gate up that I bought at Lowe's temporarily at the request of the neighbors because there was vandalism going on down there. The gate wasn't up very long at all. And so he's saying that there was a gate there before and that we got permission from some bank. I never talked to a bank. I had nothing to do with that. There was not a gate there when I put the gate up. There was no gate whatsoever. I put that gate up, and all I did was put 2 posts up and put a metal gate that I bought at Lowe's up. And I just don't understand why this, this is a big deal. It wasn't up. There was no gate there before. He says that there was a gate there that I replaced. There wasn't a gate there. It wasn't there. It didn't exist. So, and also, I go with the same thing. He has no title or ownership to my property. To let somebody build something on your property without ownership and with no permission from me is wrong. It's just wrong. It's not even within the scope of his easement rights. His easement rights are for ingress and egress. And he's saying that, he has a right to build a gate on my property. He has no right. None. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bettis. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Council, any questions of the staff? Well, then we'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution, what was it?
541.
Ordinance 541.
As presented.
And waive reading.
And waive reading, where's the part, so, yeah, and waive the reading, of the entire ordinance number 541, approved reading by title only.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Culleton and a second by Jones. Roll call.
And the roll call, Vice Mayor Boland,
Aye.
Councilmember Culleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings,
Aye, although, not to talk about it, I guess, but, aye.
and Mayor Lauder.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Did you want to give you the opportunity, when we have time, if you want to make a statement, John? that's
Basically,
fine.
all I was gonna say was the fact that, last time we talked about this, I voted no because I think it belongs in the courts, and I think the courts are the deciding factor in it. And if in fact we do choose the third option, I think 10 and a half months is a long time to have a moratorium. So,
But just for clarification, once the planning commission acts on it, and then comes back to the council at a meeting presumably in June.
Once the new ordinance goes into effect.
Yeah, then the
30
moratorium,
days after.
the moratorium goes away shortly thereafter, so.
so it could be less than 10 and a half months?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that time,
Considerably less.
that time is, we're holding people up, and it's in the courts now. So I'll go ahead and vote yes, but I'm voting yes with the understanding that we won't be able to use it. I mean, we shouldn't. I just vote yes on it.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we are going to go into closed session. Government Code 54957.6. Meet with Lauren Gill, Gina Will, Crystal Peters, and its designated representative regarding labor relations between the town, Paradise Police Officers Association, and confidential with management, general employees unit, safety management, unit.
I will call you guys because I have your number. I have to speak with him.
Thank you for coming.
I don't have his number. If you speak with me, that is for the post. I don't have your number, so I haven't been able to speak with you before.